Shalom, shalom, everyone. So I'm coming to you on March 22nd. Our watch for the equinox was kind of a bust. We had all this new equipment ready and wanting to get going on it. The weather was not cooperating with us. We got partial days, didn't get full days. We did witness the west sunset, the due west sun setting on March 20th. That was really the only true witness we were able to gather. We had 2 tables going. I had a new armillary going. It was just too windy for the armillary to have a decent reading, and the clouds just kept interrupting the shadow casting. But blessedly, we are taught to learn how to count our days. And also, we do have technology, which can be a blessing as well. So we see here on the computer screen, we have the date of 3/18, and it's just before sunrise here at my location. This is set for my location. So if we just start moving the sun, so we can see on the 18th, the sun was not rising due east. So we're going to come back here. And then on the 19th, we're still not rising due east. And then on the 20th, oh, here we are. And it just stays due east all day long. Doesn't move. So it entered the 4th gate, the due east 4th gate on the 20th. And then we can see on yesterday, the 21st, the first full day of spring. Remember, this day here on the 19th is the last full day of winter, the 364th day that Enoch talks about. The year is now complete. We're at the 364th day, linear day from the vernal equinox. The 20th, here we are entering that gate. Right there, like Enoch says, in the middle of the heaven. 21st, we're fully in the gate. This is the first full day of spring. This just takes us into the inner circle. There seems to be some confusion in me talking about the equinox and then the first full day of spring. All counts that the priest did in their priestly orders was from the equinox line, from when it was entering the 4th gate. This is where all counts begin. Then we have the first full day of spring. Now, Enoch names this day Tamayin, and it represents all of spring, but it's also the first full day of spring. This is the great gate. These 2 days of entering into the 4th gate, and now the first full day of spring, we're in this great gate of Tamayin. And so this is the day, and the reason it's important is because this is the day we enter back into the core 360. This is a 2-wheel system, or a 2-count system. This is the most perfect calendar there is. I mean, man didn't make this calendar. Our Creator did. And men have studied it for centuries and all agree that this 2-count or two-wheel system is the most accurate. There's no need to intercalate weeks or months. It is self-adjusting. It never falls out of season. This calendar is perfect. And we're given the great sign in the middle of the heaven. So regardless of any instruments you're out there using, I've been using an armillary for a lot of years, and I know how easily they can be misread and misset. And a little wind, they're not reliable. 100%. If it's a calm day and the sun is shining and you've got it set, it can be a good witness to the straight line. But you have to have other witnesses, and this is why we use the table. It's kind of hard to have a deception when you're just marking what the sun is doing. We're just marking it. We don't change anything. We don't move anything. We just mark it. So I'm going to go ahead and share the video clips that we made throughout this week as we were trying to watch, and we have some conversation. So I'm going to share that with you in this video. And we are proclaiming the new year on March 20th, and the creation Sabbath is 3 days later. Yahuwah didn't wait until Wednesday to rest. He rested 3 days after setting his lights in motion. He moved them through the heavens and told us the information we needed in order to read them and how to mark his Moedim. He only waited 3 days till he rested. That is the true Sabbath of creation. Creation was only one cycle. And he gave us the markers so we know how to set the Sabbath of creation. You carry it over to another cycle, it's out of sync with creation. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. We don't dictate when the Sabbath is. Yahuwah does. So we will share these clips with you, and we'll see you at the head of the second Kodesh. Shalom, shalom, everyone. So I'm out here. It's the morning of the 18th. Finally got some of our projects up and going. This is our new table. Let me back out and you can get the fullness of it. So it's a lot larger than the one we've worked with. So our dots will be bigger. That'll be good. We'll be able to see them better. But I've been out here this morning marking. Had to do a little adjustment to my Nomian. It was a little tall. And we want to make sure that it was on this table first thing this morning. So we're doing some adjustments. We got the new armillary out here. But we can see that the line is still angled on the armillary. So there's our first two dots. I'm getting ready to do my third dot. So today's the 18th of March. Watching for the new year at the Equinox. It's midday out here. And looking at this, my new armillary that I made out of embroidery hoops. And we can tell that it's midday because this arm here is now completely blocking the sun. In fact, we're just moving off of midday. And we can see our string line is still, what's that little bug? Still angled. So when this line is straight across this arm, then we will know that it is the equinox. But so it's still got an angle to it. And we can see here's the shadow of it right here. And this arm, like I said, is
now moving off of midday. I have it set at my my latitude. So that seems to be working out pretty good there. So we still have a couple days until the celestial marker for the equinox. But I like having a few lines, a few dots of lines up here so we can see the actual straight line, something to compare it to. So we're getting her marked. Wish I'd had a couple more days, but between the weather and my injury to my ribs, I just didn't get around to it. So slowed down, but at least we're up and moving today, and the sun is cooperating. And so we're marking. We'll just mark it throughout the day and get our baseline. And then tomorrow we can compare where we're at. We're supposed to have storms this weekend, so hopefully it won't come in till after the equinox. But this is what we're doing. I've also marking the metal table. We haven't moved it, it's still up front. But I did paint it, so we have a couple of different witnesses in different parts of the yard. But there we are right now with our little line started, March 18th. And we can see that we do not have a straight line shadow. All right, well, it looks like we're losing our sun to some clouds. So I don't know if we can see that. So we got our baseline here on the metal table, and we'll show you what the new big table looks like. All right, so it's about 5:30 Mountain Daylight Time. I say it that way because I don't like daylight time. Just need to keep it back in the celestial time. This puts everything out an hour. So anyway, here is what the big table looks like. We're losing sun up there to these clouds, but at this point I can still kind of see a bend in our line. So, and the armillary definitely showed us today that it was not the equinox. Today is March 18th. So this is where we're at. And hopefully before we lose the sun completely behind the rim, I'll get a few more dots on this table to give us a good, nice baseline. Oh, we've got some company. That's Henny Penny and Patty Cake right there. And Miss Barbie. Yes, Miss Barbie is one bad ass chicken. Yes, she is. She got pulled out of her coop and almost got her wing tore off, and she had a big gash and she was bloody. And look at her now. She came through like a trooper. She's one of our favorite chickens, Miss Barbie. So today, March 18th, we were blue, and I really don't see a break in those clouds. But if I do get a quick moment and I see some light shining through, I'll run out here and try to get a couple more marks on the end of this table so we can see for sure the good curve. But from my vantage point, I am seeing still a curve. So until the morning, Miss Henny Penny gonna wish you shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. So this morning is March 19th, the day before the new year's supposed to happen. And we're out here, we can see the sun is just starting to get on the table here. So as soon as I get the nice little pointer, I will mark it. We can see on the armillary that the line is still curved. I don't have a straight line this morning. So we're just going to mark the table through the day and see what we get. Long, still morning. So on Facebook this morning, some memories popped up. And I was looking actually at this armillary here and showing how angled the shadows were still on this armillary. We go over here to the new armillary, which I know is perfectly set. And we can see it's almost straight, but there's still a slight curve to it. Still, it's not right in the middle completely all the way down. It starts in the middle up here, but as we're coming down, we see there's still a bend. So we're getting closer to the straight line shadow, but we're not there yet. That's the one thing I like about using the armillary. If we can get them set perfectly, you can see with the first morning light whether or not that line is going to be straight or not. So we're marking the table. Today we are orange. Yesterday we were blue. So it's the 19th, and we're still morning time here, just moving along and getting our dots in. And so that was interesting that a memory popped up from 2 years ago and was showing back then we still had a curved line. So I'm out here at the metal table, and I just wanted to show right here, we had our baseline from yesterday, and so it's really hard to tell if it's, when it's getting this close to the equinox, just one line, you know, kind of looks straight. And I can tell by looking at, there's still a little bit of a bend, but now that we have two lines together, we can see how this one was bending. Now, as we get closer to midday, they'll start lining up closer. But so this one was, now we can see the bend in it, now that we have something to compare it to. So we're going to continue marking this table throughout the day as well. Unfortunately, we had some cloud cover yesterday afternoon and ran out of light. So, but here is a really good mark. That's why we want to try to get as early as we can on the table so you can see the changes in the light here. So this yesterday was definitely curved. Today's more straight, and then tomorrow we'll see what tomorrow looks like. Tomorrow is supposed to be the equinox, and I'm pretty sure it will be. But we just want to make sure we're watching and doing our due diligence in fulfilling Yahuwah's commands to observe the month of Aviv, the month of spring. And it can't be spring until the celestial marker tells us that it's spring. So that's what we're watching for. Okay, as you can see by the armillary, we are at midday. See how, oh, mess up my markings. We are darkened here in the middle. So with this darkened out, we know that it's midday. We still see our string line here is angled. So we want to watch for that to be straight all day. So here at midday, we are seeing still an angled line. And then at the table here, you can see that the orange, which is today, is slightly below the blue from yesterday. I mean, they're really, really close, but you can really see there in the morning where it was just slightly below. But it has dropped down a little bit today, and that we see on the small metal table too. We can really see the curve there. So we're just going to keep plotting it out. Hopefully we'll have sun throughout the day. Yesterday we ran out of sunshine. The clouds moved in, and that was that. So today is March 19th, and we're seeing here at midday that we still do not have a straight line. You see our line here. Tomorrow we'll be out here marking the table again. Tomorrow is supposed to be the equinox. So we'll come back out here and check again this evening as we fill in our line and marking for the new year. All right, shalom everyone. So it's getting to be evening time here in Utah, and I've been marking the table all day out here, about every, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, somewhere in there, trying to just get it so it's spaced out so we can see our colors. And we can see down here when we first started that orange today was definitely lower than blue yesterday. So we know blue, because as we get closer to the middle here, we see how they start lining up. So we can see the angle of the blue. So our orange has straightened quite a bit today. And I was just looking at the small table on my way out here, and I seen the same curve on the small table. So I think the one thing that bothers me the most is watching teachers that proclaim that the equinox, the new year has been here, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying it was the 17th of March. And, well, I don't know how that can be. And I don't care what kind of sundial they're using to prove it. There's only one day in the spring where the sun rises due east and sets due west. Only one day. And so, I mean, I have worked with sundials long enough to know that they're easily manipulated. So this is why I don't trust the Millery as much as I do just marking these little dots across a flat surface and then looking for the straight line. Once you have 2, 3, 4 of these lines going, it becomes pretty obvious which one is straight. There's no hiding that fact. I'm not moving my little pointer every time I come out here. It just... So please, please, please watch and be careful of who you listen to about this whole start of the year stuff. There's only one day that the sun rises due east. You need to learn your landscape. Now, we have watched for enough years that we know where our sunrise for the equinox is going to be. And I don't know if I can point it out quite here, but this is where we will see the sun rise tomorrow morning on the equinox. There's only 365 days, 365 sunrises between equinoxes. That does not fluctuate unless it's a leap year. And it is not a leap year. So I just pray that everybody uses the Ruach and discernment to guide them and show them the truth. This is not a mystery. There's no great prophecy in it. It's just watching what the sun does and how our Creator set up his timepiece. Anybody can do it. There's nothing to making a little plate, a little piece of paper, a paper plate even, with a stick pin through it. As long as you don't move it every time you measure it, it's stable and secure somewhere, you're going to have an accurate reading. And you can quickly see for yourselves when the straight line is. Man cannot make straight what the Creator has bent. There's only one straight line in the spring that marks the month of spring, the month of Aviv. So we're just going to finish out the night and keep marking this table and be with you in the morning. We'll have the armillary set up early in the morning. We're supposed to get some wind in tonight, so I took it down for the evening. But I'll have it up here and catch that first morning light, and we can see if there's a straight line. And then we'll just mark the table throughout the day and compare our three lines. So until then, I wish you all shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. So today is March 20th. So we didn't get too many marks this morning on the table. We're just now past midday. It's way too windy to have the artillery out here. We would not get a good reading. You can hear my wind chimes. You can probably hear the wind as well. So just all the little chances we get, I hit a sun. We ran out here this afternoon. Right now it's about 1:30 Mountain Time. So our midday was at 1:26. So we're right here for midday. But astrologically, today is the day of the straight line. I've already had some emails from across this globe of ours confirming that people have actually witnessed the east light rising and the straight line today. So hope everybody's out there watching their shadows. This is why we need more people doing this, because some of us get bad weather on days like today. So if we could have a network of people who do this for the right reason, just to discover truth, regardless where it takes us, then we just would love to have more people on board, marking the shadows, journaling and reporting what is happening in our sky, in our heavens, and how it correlates with what our scripture tells us. We had a little gap here where we had a stovepipe shadow blocking for a few minutes, which is an interesting story, because this time of year where the sun is, we have this stovepipe. And what happens is, you see these stepping stones here in my yard. This, between 4 and 5, the sun is just right there where the stovepipe is, and it shades these stepping stones. And then as the sun moves past, because it's high enough now in the sky that it's clearing my house rooftop, so as it clears past that stovepipe, my stepping stones light up again. And the first time that got noticed, my husband noticed it, and it made me think of Hezekiah and the 10 degrees going backwards. So we had a shadow, and then it lit back up. But anyway, just interesting observation that some of these stories in the Bible are actual pointers to a certain season or time of year. And I think that is the case there with Hezekiah and the 10 degrees. Just a local event that happened that meant something to him. But that was what we observed here with these little stepping stones, and how they were lit, shadowed, and relit because of the angle of the sun being able to clear the stovepipe and still be high enough now in the season to be over the rooftop. So, interesting little story while we're out here. Okay, well, yay. We've had some sun this afternoon. Oh, my black marker's dying. I'm going to go get another one. So we've had some consistency through the afternoon. Hopefully we can get down here to the end and compare it at least to the orange dots. We only had blue 2 days ago because of cloud cover up to this point, but you can still see an angle here. This is definitely lower today, which it would be because now the sun is heading towards the north from the south, and so our shadows are going to start moving towards the south as our sun is moving towards the north. So this is why we see this, and this will keep dropping now until we get to the summer solstice, when we'll have our bend, and then we'll work back up to the autumn equinox and then the winter solstice. So that's what we should expect to see throughout the year. We'll go ahead and mark it at the heads of the months, weather permitting, so we can see the progression. What we saw last year was the development of the gates that Enoch talks about, how these lines of the sun were grouped into the gates, and it was really obvious. I'll see if I have some pictures of that we can share. But so yeah, hopefully we'll have some sun through the rest of the day. It's really windy out here still. Clouds building up against the mountain, but hopefully it's just blowing it all out. So we'll check back with you this evening and see how it all panned out. Yeah, it's moving in quick. Maybe I can get another dot on this table. Big old daddy tumbleweed. Run away, chickens! Don't let the tumbleweeds get you. Shalom, shalom, everyone. We're just past midday here. It is March 21st, the first full day of spring. Yesterday was the equinox. Sadly, it was a bust here. We just did not get enough data through the day to mark the table. The big table we marked about halfway. This little table is marked about halfway. I was able to get a few little marks in, but we do see that the sun, I'm using the blue pen today, and we see the sun hasn't moved too much, but it's going to keep continuing to go this direction now until the summer solstice. So I'm just going to mark it throughout the day, just to be able to get some marks out and so we can have some baselines through the seasons. But yesterday was just way too stormy. Like I said, I couldn't even get the armillary out. It was so windy. But this is why it's important to understand how to count the days. But we do have software that shows us as well that the sun went through the fourth gate yesterday. So this is where we are today on the 21st, the first full day of spring that Enoch called Tamayin. We've entered the inner circle of the wheel, the 360-day hub now. Remember the first 4 days, those 4 days of the days that distinguish the seasons come in first, according to Enoch. So they came in first. They're the first 4 days of creation. We have the equinox on that 4th day, the first full day of spring. But all counts come from that equinox day, from that 0 point. That center 4th gate is where we start counting from. That's when we leave the outer wheel and back into that center stationary hub of the 360 days. The 360 days of assembly. Whether they're their original 360 days of creation or just those that Yahweh sets aside for his assembly days, they're still the core. They're still where his days reside. This is the garden of appointed times, the inner will. So we're just going to watch this throughout the day, and we'll check in at the next head of the month, the next Rosh Chodesh, and mark the table. We love doing that so you can see how the gates work. And until then, we're just going to wish you a Shana Tova, a Happy New Year, and many blessings to you. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.